Hey guys, I'm Vignesh back today, and I'm going to be talking about chess and what the fundamentals are and how pieces move and what the pieces are worth. So first we have the pawn. The pawn goes straight, right, and it can go diagonally when it captures a piece. Anyway, it can go diagonally, and it cannot go backwards like the bishop. And we'll come to the bishop later. When the pawn first moves, it can go 2 squares, or you can pick 1 square. It's your choice, but after the 2 squares, it has to go 1 square. You cannot pick to go 2 squares again. After the pawn reaches the first rank for black and 8th rank for white, the pawn can transform into any piece of your choice, where the knight, the bishop, the rook, and the queen. It cannot transform into the king because there can only be one king in the game. That is a pawn, and there's 8 pawns in the game, and they're worth 1 point. Next, we have the knight. There are 2 special abilities for knights. They can jump over pieces, which no other piece can do, and they move in an L shape, which no other piece can do. Where they can go 1 up and 2 side, or 2 up and one side. And you can go any side you want. It's the same thing. They are worth 3 points, and there's 2 of them in the board. And they usually use it for pinning and everything, and which will be discussed in further videos. Next, we have the bishop. The bishop always stays in the same color, and we have 2 bishops. They go diagonal, and they usually use it for pinning and everything again. And I'll also discuss about pinning, skewering, and some other cool techniques like openings in the next video. So the bishop is worth 3 points on 2, just wrapping it up, and that is it for the bishop. Next, we have a rook. A rook is the second most best piece in the game, and is worth 5 points. It can go vertically or horizontally, but it cannot go diagonal like the bishop can. There is something unique about the rook, which I will talk about in the end of the video, and the king. So stay tuned until the end of the video. And then next we have the queen. The queen can move any direction, and it stays in its own color for black or white. That's where some people get mixed up and set the board wrong, and that's where some techniques to go wrong, which will affect the gameplay. So the queen can go any direction except the knight, as shown. And the queen is worth 9 points, and we have 1 queen. The maximum number of queens we can have is only 9 because there's 9 pawns. Be sure to protect your queen and king, guys, because the queen is the most powerful and the king is the most important, because the whole game is about the king. So as shown, we can go up, left, or right, diagonal, or anything else. That is the queen. Next, we have the king, the most important piece in the game. Just like the queen, he can go any direction. He can go any direction unless he's in check, and that will be explained right now. So if the king is in check, suppose. So this is check from the queen. So since it's check, he cannot come here since it's still in check. So the fundamentals are you cannot go into check, and the kings cannot touch each other. And there's around 3 ways to block a check. Block to defend a check. You can block like this, and the queen would have to move, or you can even do it with a knight or pawn or anything, except another king, of course, but we only have 1 king. The king has like no points, you can say, because the king cannot be captured. And if you wanted to block it, you would put a piece in front of your king, and if you wanted to move it, you could, but you can move the king whenever you want. It doesn't have to be under attack to move it. Next, we can also kill the piece. So if my bishop was here, I can kill the piece and stop the check. That would also work. Unless it's a double check where it's like this, the king would have to move, because if we would block it, this check is still there. So that's it. So we would have to move. And the thing I wanted to explain to you is about the most important thing with the rook and the king is the castling. The castling is important in the game because it involves some openings and some important things, because we can promote our king to safety. The king can have castling both ways. Castling basically means the king can move 2 squares in the game once, and that's where its castling happens. You can castle long, which is when you castle queen side, or you can castle king side, which is called short castling. You can castle only if the king did not move anywhere, and if the rook didn't move anywhere, which is on the corners of the board. So if the rook moves, you can't castle, but you can castle on the other side. And I will show you how to do castling. So if you wanted to do it on the left side, you would do 1, 2, and the rook would go right next to the king. The same with the other side. 1, 2, and the rook would go right next to it. That's how castling works, and it defends multiple strategies. Like, we can protect the king in some ways, like this. This would be a good area to be in. And castling is just like a normal fundamental in chess. That's like a really basic fundamental. I'll also tell you more fundamentals in chess later in the videos. This is how a normal chessboard is set up, and white always goes first, no matter what. So white goes first, and this is how you set it up both sides, so you don't need to worry about anything. So I think I've taught you everything, guys. Be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on post notifications on all, and comment on the video and share it with your friends. Bye.